Come say something, I wanna hear your voice.
All the eyes on me, all the eyes are all on me. All the eyes on me, all the eyes are all on me. All the eyes on me, all the eyes are all on me. All the eyes on me, all the eyes are all on me.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Fox back in the house, and today I'm doing a video that's, I don't want to say highly requested, but it's been requested, and I try to be a man of my word and all that. So today I am talking about our main character of the entire, well, he is the main character, but you could say he's not the only main character, but you know, the most prominent of the main characters of the cast is our boy John, Shadow King, or Tuesday, or Executioner as I call him. Someone on one of my comment sections probably 2 weeks ago asked me what did I think of John as a character and where do I think he is going right now and all that. And you know, at first I was gonna answer that, you know, just, you know, on a comment, you know, short answer, but then I was like, no, I can make a video out of this, because actually, even when I thought about it, I was like, you know, describing John to me is not really just, you know, a one-shot answer. Maybe to some people it is, but for me it's not. And you know, I've been putting this video off mainly for the fact that, like, one, I've had other things to do, but also because I couldn't really draw a conclusion, and I still can't draw a conclusion actually. So I'm going to do my best, and I just really hope it answers how I feel about John up to this current point in the story, and how I feel about him later in the future if it gets to the point that I think it's going to get to and all that. But also I did consult you know, some other YouTubers and stuff about it. Like I talked to DigiDestin39 and Ty Animations and Steph. They were busy. They didn't really have time to get back to me, but it's fine. It's whatever. Make sure you go follow them on, you know, on their YouTube channels and all that. We do collaborations. We're planning more. Well, there's no set date for that or anything. But you know, when I was talking to Digi, I asked him, like, do you think John is progressing as a character or regressing? And Digi was kind of split on it too. He was like, he pretty much said regressing, but you know, Digi put it in a long message, you know. But that's how I felt when I read his message. That's kind of how I felt too. So I do feel like John is regressing as a character and not really moving forward and not really changing, because when Digi explained how he thought, it showed me something that, like, John is pretty much doing the same thing that he did when he was in middle school, except this time well, actually no, I guess you kind of could say that people are pressuring him to be the king, but this time it would be Cecile, and in his middle school it would be like Claire, and I guess some of his friends and the other classmates were pushing him to be you know, the king. And you know, my question about that is, you know, if John had been left alone, would he, you know, how would he turn out? Because you know, the whole thing with this society and Unordinary as a world as a whole, you know, the hierarchy is everything. You know, high tiers at the top, mid tiers and low tiers are pretty much at the bottom, but the mid tiers have, you know, a little bit more sway than the low tiers, obviously, and all that, you know. And they push that, you know. It's like if your ability tests out to be, you know, an elite in whatever I can't remember what the score is to qualify you as an elite, but you know, they push it on you. They're like, you need to be an elite, you need to act as such, you need to act with the dignity and the prowess of an elite, which is pretty much being a dick for the most part. Not all of them are. Some of them actually do have compassion for their fellow man and all that, ends being Ray, you know, Remy's older brother who's deceased, may he rest in peace and all that. And you know, and it got me wondering, like, how would John have turned out if they had, you know, had he just been like a normal elite? You know, he didn't have to be the king, he didn't have to be, you know, a jack or anything like that. He didn't have to be part of the royals. He just could just be an elite and be left alone. I think that John would have been what he is with Serafino with the hair gel, except normal hair. and he would just be okay. He might have a little bit of a pompous attitude, but I think I blame it on society as a whole, because they puff the elites up so much, and they kiss their tushies until they step out of line and the government has to get involved. Then that's when you get showed your real place in society. You're an elite as far as the commoners go, but when the government is concerned, you better shut your mouth and you better stay in line. That's how it goes. And getting back to John as a character, John probably would have been perfectly fine had no one pushed him to be the king. Like the whole thing with let me clarify this. Everything that I'm about to say is strictly my opinion and how I feel. There might be some facts to back it up, but I'm not finna go back and dig. That's not how I do things. On some things I do, but right now this is off the cuff, and I'm just getting this out because I like it this way better. But I think John would have been perfectly fine had he just been a normal elite. He probably wouldn't have cared too much about the mid tiers or the low tiers. He might have a little bit because of who his dad is, and we see how he kind of acts, but that's neither here nor there. But right now, like I said, he's doing the same thing that he did in middle school. He's for the most part, he's trying to break the hierarchy, but still he's kind of letting Cecile talk him into, like, you need to do something. I don't like it, you don't like it, the other people don't like it, we have to implement some change. And Cecile doesn't know that the change that she wants is not going to be the change that she necessarily gets. Because John's whole thing right now is, okay, y'all keep pushing me to do something, I got you. Don't trip, I got you. So in his mind right now, he's like, okay, you want me to be king? I'll be king, but I'm going to be king of a broken system. Because that's exactly what he plans on doing. He's already started. He attacked Blake. And side note, if you didn't pay attention to my reactions, I actually forgot, or I didn't know, whichever one, that Blake would be next in line to be king. I did for some reason, it didn't click in my mind, like, oh yeah, Arlo leaves, then Blake steps in, because I keep forgetting that Eisen is not a royal. He's just cool with Blake and Remy and all that. That's just how it is. So yeah, it never dawned on me that Blake would be the next head dude in charge. So John striking a blow against him really set the bar low for everyone's expectations coming next year when he's supposed to finally, take over. They're not going to really take him too seriously, especially he got beat by some unknown assailant, which he won't be unknown for, I don't think, very much longer, to be real. I think probably within the next 20 or 30, 20 chapters, John's going to reveal himself to the school as, I am the master assailant. I'm the one that's been going around beating everybody up, and actually he might fight Arlo one more time, and then after that, either his mask is gonna fall off, or he's just gonna like, look at me now, do what I say, or you're all gonna get your asses kicked. You feel me? So, but yes, and the thing is, y'all know how I am. I ramble, so bear with me. So if you follow me on my Amino and there's a Facebook group that I'm on too, but no one knows about that really. But on my Amino and Reddit, I posed a question. I asked, what mythical creature do you think best represents John? And I got a few. I got most ones that came up were a demon, black dragon, a god, and all those. And I'm not saying no, but those were the boring answers to me, to be perfectly honest. Now one person wrote me, he said either an Arenri or Cerberus. Now you know who Cerberus is. He's a three-headed dog that guards the gates of Hades and all that. But you don't know what an Arenri is. That is also known as those are also known as Furies. And Furies in Greek mythology, they punished people who did wrong against the gods, or if they killed their mother or their father, because they saw that as the ultimate crime. Because considering that's how, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's pretty much how they were born when Zeus castrated his father Kronos and all that. But that's enough Greek mythology. But as you know, we're gonna go deeper. And the reason I picked them because when Furies are usually depicted, they're depicted in threes, and they're usually depicted in as three entities, and they're women. But ignore the women part. I'm going with the depicted as three different people, because we have John with the hair gel. That's who we were initially introduced to. Then we found out about John back in middle school, aka Shadow King, what he's pretty much doing right now around the school. You know, his hair was ungelled, he was using his ability, but he wasn't using it for the, you know, for the greater good, whatever. And then you have Tuesday or Executioner, who is, I feel, is just the pure embodiment of all of John's wrath and anger. And he doesn't, you know, when Tuesday's on the scene, there is no words. It's you're getting your face planted into the concrete with a solid kick to the face, and that is end of story. And no one to this point has been able to stop him at all. And I can't wait to see the person that actually managed to put up a legitimate fight, because Blake tried, but that wasn't a fight. That was more of just a sideshow attraction. Like, look, I'm gonna beat the guy that's supposed to be the next in charge, and y'all can't do nothing about it, which they didn't, because everyone in that school is a bunch of douches, and the society is too. You got a few select. Remy's cool. Elaine goes back and forth because she was a bee when we first met her. She's starting to learn the error of her ways. I can see it. But yeah, that is how I think Furies represent John the best, when you depict them as, you know, three separate entities, because that's pretty much how John is. He is split right now. Right now he's in Shadow King mode, but when he goes to see Seraphina and hang out, he's in hair gel John mode. He doesn't slick his hair down anymore, but he's, you know, he's a lot nicer, he's calmer, which actually at this point in the story that's kind of not being the case, which is getting on my nerves. And then you have Executioner, who is pretty much like, I'm here to take care of business. No, I'm not talking. You can say whatever you want, but my knee is going in your jaw and your teeth will break. Somebody get this man some applesauce. That's how it goes, you feel me? So that's how I feel about John as far as like the mythical creature aspect of him. And to answer the question of where I think he's going, honestly, and if he keeps going this route, John's going to die. He's going to probably, I feel like it's gonna be like, he's gonna realize, oh crap, I'm doing the same thing again. But by that point, it's gonna be too late, and either Seraphina or I don't know, maybe not Seraphina, but I can't think of a person that would strike the final blow. But it's probably gonna end up being that John's gonna realize too little, too late, and that's it. Or Seraphina ends up getting killed and he goes into just a ballistic like rage, and a military, somebody has to put him down. Because honestly, I think even amongst elites, John is an abnormality, because it was confirmed by Uru-chan that when he copies an ability, it is double its power. And so far we've seen him copy at least 4 and use them all at the same time. We've seen him copy healing. We've seen him copy Abel's explosions. He was able to use Aizen's tracking ability, which, you know, once he locks onto a target, his stats get boosted. And then whatever other 4th ability that he might have had at the time. I think he only had 3 when he fought Wind K and Krolik and all them. And all that mess, but it doesn't matter. John's able to wield multiple abilities at the same time, and on top of that, he's able to use them better than the original owner. Like with Blake showed off, you know, he's like, you know, he threw some energy beams, and then he tried to do a Kamehameha blast. John used the beams like jet engines and maneuvered around and power slid, you know, and then turned my man into Swiss cheese, as Steph Bryant said. That's my dog. But that's pretty much what happened. And even Blake was like, dude, I didn't know I could do that. So his combat abilities are already off the charts. Even when Blake tried to fight him hand to hand, which we all knew that wasn't gonna work, because we've seen John training at his house. He has a practice dummy in his living room, and he just he does daily routines. He's adept in martial arts, and when it comes to stealing abilities, they're already overpowered. But on top of that, he can mix them. Like when he took Melee and Ventus's powers, and he crossed them to make something better. He made wind blades out of their abilities, and he completely destroyed them. And by all accounts, Millie should be dead falling from that height. Ventus shouldn't be able to move his arm, to be perfectly honest, but you know, whatever. That's neither here nor there. So, yeah, so right now, if John keeps going down this path, I see him dying. If it doesn't go down that route, I see John eventually, John might realize like beforehand that, oh my goodness, this is terrible what I'm doing. But I don't want to, it's weird, kingdom or like mob or whatever he creates might get to a point where it no longer is in his control, and it's either under the control of Cecile or it has its own mind, and no matter what he says, no matter what he wants, they're going to do, you know, what they want. You know, because I'm pretty sure I would be shocked if somehow John did not rally all of the low tiers to his side, because you know they're fed up with all this. Most of them are timid, but once they see they have such a powerhouse backing them that even Arlo himself cannot take down, then they'll be like, then they'll get some confidence about themselves. And you know, some of the, and also some, that just because they're elites doesn't mean, and you know, some of the low tiers who are third years will probably remember what Ray used to do, and they'll be inspired all over again to be like, well, I remember when Ray was running the show, this is what he wanted, and you know, Ray is now deceased, well, he was murdered, whatever. They'll be like, it is up to me to carry on Ray's legacy, because that's what he wanted even after he left. You know, you see what I'm saying? So this whole rebellion that John is doing, it might get to a point where he gets to the point, it might get to the point where it's either he doesn't realize till the end that he's going to be, he gets killed, or he's going to realize somewhere down in the middle. But it's at that point, the mob, the rebellion that he has created is too strong for him to control by himself. John is a beast in combat, but I highly doubt he could take on 100 people at once, even if they are low tiers. You're gonna get tired at some point, and if you're copying their abilities, copying a low tier's ability, you know, even though it's double their strength, it probably ain't gonna be too much compared to copying like Seraphina's or Blake's or Arlo's or Aizen's ability. Actually, I want to see him copy Remy's. And I'm on the fence about that, but that's gonna be a whole discussion if John fights Remy and all that and everything. So, but yeah, right now John is not in a good place, and it's not his fault. It really isn't, because even like the whole middle school thing, that I feel like that was like a 50-50 at fault range. Like I feel like 50% of it was John's fault because he should have realized what he's doing is wrong, but 50% of everyone else around him for pretty much, you know, gassing him up. Like, you need to be king, you need to run things, and no one can tell you what to do. And that's pretty much what he did. Anyone that questioned him got their face stomped in. Even his friends, like I can't remember that one dude, blonde haired dude that was trying to tell him about the you know, the rebellion against him. He was like, no, shut up, they'll never do that. And he punched him in the face. You know, I was like, John, my boy is trying to warn you or something, you feel me? And I mean, like I said, and I blame that. And then you can go a bit further and say that is society. So now I want to know where this hierarchy originally came from. Like, what started this whole hierarchy where high tiers here, mid tiers, and the low tiers, you shut up and you keep your mouth shut. You feel me? So you know, that's really what I want from the story. I want more world building. I love the character development that we get, you know, from John, Seraphina, Aizen, Blake, Remy, Arlo, and you know, the people around it, because that does make for a better story. But I also like to see the world more fleshed out. I don't need to know about every single last building, but you know, I want to know more about the schools. I want to know more about this hierarchy. Obviously, I want to know more about Ember and all this, but you know, I'll set that for another video. But this video is already running kind of long. I really hope that I did a good job of telling you how I feel, but I'll try and sum it up in the next few minutes right here. So where is John going as a character right now? I feel like John is heading down the same path that he did back in middle school, and this time it's not going to be lessons with Keon and whatever building they send him to. I think it's going to lead to his death, or it's going to lead to Seraphina's death, which then in turn leads back to his death, because you know, if Seraphina dies or appears that she dies, that's it. I don't care who you are. Anyone that's in his visual path is dead. So that's how. Or he realizes his mistakes. He tries to fix everything, and well, not happily ever after, but you know, he manages to quell the fighting, and he ends up being like the hero from his dad's book that he wrote and all that. Now what do I think of John as a whole character? I think John has split personalities, which most of us will agree. Like I said, I think he represents the Furies from Greek mythology, not the women aspect, but just like in threes, and they were known for the carrying out justice and vengeance for people who wronged the god. Well, actually, anyone could summon them back in the day, but you know, they were there to serve justice to the wronged people that summoned them and all that. You know, and that you know, I feel like John represents all that. You know, vengeance, justice, peacefulness, and broken oaths and all that. So yeah, that is how I feel. I think I'm gonna do separate videos on each one of those separate personalities, because you know, when John switches, it's such a drastic change. It's nothing subtle. Like Tuesday, it's no talking, it's all action. Shadow King, it's you need to listen to what I say or I'm going to break your face. And then John with the hair gel, he's chill, he's calm, he's a very nice person. And I think that's John in reality, but I think his situations have just been so messed up, and people have pressured him all his life to be, you know, to be a king, to be an elite, or just to stay in your place, and he's fed up with it. So that is how I feel. Like I said, tell me what you think about John in the comments below, or you can tell me how you feel about all the other characters, you know, Arlo, Remy, Blake, Eisen, Seraphina, all that. Be sure to follow me on all my social media outlets. Also be sure to follow all of my homies, DigiDestin39, Thai Animations 321, and Steph Bryant. Like I said, we did a collaboration on chapter 138. We're gonna do another collaboration. I don't know what chapter that might be. We'll have to talk about it. But you know, if you wanna support the channel even more, go join the Fox Gang. That is my Patreon. The highest tier is $10 a month. The lowest is $1. And you know, I'm not going no higher than 10 and all that. You know, I ramble, guys. I'm so sorry, but hopefully y'all get over that and just do the stuff that I know I'm supposed to do. And this is your boy Fox. Out.